With Remake, it was Reunion. And with Rebirth, it was Bonds. For part 3, what will be the keyword? That is what we're talking about again this week. We are talking about the keyword. And the reason why I'm doing a double header here, last week we talked about our keywords, the Excalibro, Dragoon King, and my keywords. And if I remember correctly, I don't know. Okay, so Excalibro, what was your keyword that you went with? Memory. And then Dragoon King, he went with, do you remember what his was? It was a
introspection.
He's a Final fan, everybody. He's a Final fan. Introspection.
Clutch.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Just a guess.
And I didn't watch it. I was just guessing. And my keywords, I cheated a little bit. I had discovery and freedom. Those are the keywords that I went with. So I'm very excited to hear what your keywords are. I'm excited to see if we get any call-ins. We already have one right now here in our Discord. Major Trenton is here going to pitch his keyword. And we're going to keep an eye on chat. We're going to see what you guys have to say. And then there's also some comments on Twitter. There's comments on the previous video that we're going to try and bring all of these keywords in. I want to spotlight you. I want to make sure I'm bringing the fans into Final Fan TV. So, remember that this keyword is not the title of the game. It is what will underpin everything about how the game is developed. And that's quoting Naoki Hamaguchi. It really underpinned everything about how that game was developed. In terms of development, we are working on that right now. We've got builds running where you can actually experience what the theme is through the gameplay. So you're going to be able to experience your keyword. Keep that in mind when you pitch that keyword. Keep that in mind because I'm going to throw it back at you and be like, okay, well, how does that underpin everything? As far as gameplay, maybe the battle mechanics, maybe the character progression, things like that. That's where I want your mindset to be when you're thinking of these keywords. Now, let's get right into it. We have Major Trenton calling in, a Final fan for a very long time. So thank you so much for calling in. I do want to say that if you guys like the idea of being able to call in, that this is actually going to be a benefit in the revamped Patreon experience, right? In the coffee membership as well. So there's going to be tiers. This is all going to be introduced very, very soon. In fact, these tiers are already live right now, but the benefits will go into effect next month. This is a preview. So if you like the idea of being able to call in, it's going to be a Patreon benefit, and we're going to have an open door Hypecast every now and then. So this is what we got right now. Anyways, Major Trenton, what's your keyword?
All right. Well, starting off, thanks for having me.
Oh man, thank you so much for being
appreciate
here.
It.
Yeah, it's so good
problem.
to see you again, man. We had some awesome. I've had you on the show before. We talked about what was it like the things that part 3 needed, and I don't even know what we even talked about. We were like, it was like absolutely must have. Maybe, and then like the absolutely bonkers predictions, right? Yeah,
that was what it was. Yeah, we went through the intros and the different parts of it. Yeah,
yes,
that was fun. That was with the Joshi Poo, I think.
That was with Joshi Poo, and I remember Joshi Poo bringing up something that I still haven't forgotten. Was his pitch about the party being separated in the game, and then like you will go across the world map and gather your party back. I imagine this is when Cloud is in his coma, and then like you will go to Corel and get Barrett because Barrett's not going to be with you anymore. I thought this is genius. Like after Cloud does his thing, meteors in the sky, everybody's going to go back home. So it's genius to have the party separated. So if you like that idea and you want more on that, that was Joshi Poo's idea, and that was during that video. So I'll try and link that. But go ahead, Major Trent, your keyword.
All right. So last week and before, you've talked about discovery, freedom, and freedom comes up a lot. And it makes sense with what the devs have talked about. So my word is close to that, but I've come up with autonomy. as a word. So
Nice.
So hopefully that's good. Came up with it today. Thought it was really nice. So
that was when you were like, I don't know if I have one, and then I have one. I'll be there.
It was a very quick shift, and now I've made notes. So starting with the story, I think, because the gameplay and the exploration, it's kind of similar to Freedom in a way. So I want to start more with the story aspect, right? And how it kind of comes full circle in every aspect of what part 3 could be, right? So to me, it works especially well with the story, what it's going to be, and the characters in part 3. Because Cloud obviously will lose himself in part 3 at probably the Northern Crater, and then just going through the live stream sequence. He's been looking for his true self for however long now, right? But he's also been searching for his own autonomy and a way of life free from Sephiroth and Genova, etc., even Shinra to a certain extent, right? And it's just not Cloud, but everyone else in the party, right, that will be experiencing this sort of, whether it's going against fate, going against antagonists, etc., everyone in the party also is searching pretty much for their own autonomy. You look at Vincent's past with Lucrezia and not having control in that situation. You have Tifa constantly again and again until the next game when she and so many other people will finally basically be in control of their lives, right? And even to a certain extent, possibly Sephiroth, depending on where they go with the story. And, it's not the best word in the world. If I had to think, it's freedom or discovery would be more along the lines of the specific word they've chosen. But I like this because it ties in the story and what the gameplay could be. And to a certain extent, right, you have reunion being the key word for remake. And so that was hinted all the way back, I think, in the 2015 trailer with the narrator talking about the reunion.
The reunion,
right?
at hand.
And yep,
that one. Yeah. So, were you the guy? So,
it was Gina talk, actually.
No, true. So, and then once again throughout Remake, playing it and building these new bonds with these characters for the first time, at least in the context of Remake, and then it being hinted at in Yuffie's DLC about where they were going. Right. And so I think as far as what I'm talking about, it's also hinted throughout Rebirth of you have Zack in his scene with who's it? Biggs in the reactor before he gets shot, talking about he wants to take back his life to be in control, right? And you see him to a certain extent choose to jump over the side instead of being shot by a bunch of soldiers and taking that control back in some way. So and obviously I've gone through Cloud, but there's so many hints about, it definitely could be freedom as well, but I think autonomy and trying to figure out oneself and the control that has to do with that just ties in pretty deep, and they've hinted at it before. Whether or not they want to choose a different word, of course they can, but that's just what I've been thinking about. And of course, having everyone, meteors coming down and people just getting to essentially choose how they're going to live or die in their last few days. So,
yeah. What do you think of autonomy, Scalabro?
Yeah, like I really like the points that you touched upon there, Major Trent. Like, there's a lot in common with freedom, like you said, but it's sort of an interesting spin on freedom, right? It's more focused, and I definitely feel like you presented how it connects to the plot beats in the ways that are, maybe the strongest, some of those, right? And you pulled some of the stuff from Rebirth at the end, which I think is interesting. Yeah. So the next question then is, how do you see this tying to gameplay?
Yeah. So when it comes to gameplay, I think we're strictly talking about control, right? And people have brought this up, and it's been a hope of mine and many's, right? Where eventually the combat system will hopefully be kind of a Final Fantasy X switch in and out sort of system, right? Where you have full control at
Absolutely.
any time
Mhm.
of who you want in your party. They could do the story stuff again, right? Where you split up the party at certain points, but
Mhm.
um, generally, I think whether or not how they do it is up to them. But I think being able to switch on the fly in some way would be really cool and give you that next level of accessibility, right? And so, I guess I have some notes on a couple systems. I don't want to stray too far, but just as some examples of giving the player a little more depth and control.
Yeah.
But um, so I would imagine they don't want to do the folio system again. Personally, they would probably want to do something else, maybe something along the lines of that. So I was thinking, since everyone's kind of bonded already, they could also kind of take, the idea of the folio system and kind of break it down with each individual party member being tied to someone else. And what I mean by that is, say, Cloud, Tifa, Barrett, they were in the party, they're fighting. And so the more time you spend fighting with them, the more hypothetical like points build up. And then there's a specific kind of like a folio, but imagine just a skill tree. And instead of saying folio at the top, it says Cloud and Tifa. And so there's a whole skill tree based around them. And it doesn't have to be a bunch of stuff, but it could be, HP plus 200, and it could be learning different synergy abilities. And then in order to get, those triple synergies that we all hope they have, you have to fill out that skill tree, but you also have to fill out everyone's corresponding, like Tifa and Barrett's skill tree, and then Cloud and Barrett. And then only then could you do like a triple synergy, right? So it's on a deeper level. And I've been playing tactics, so it's definitely not as much as like the job system in that game, but just deepening the connection of all those characters, but also giving you so much more control over what nodes do you want to
Right.
explore or unlock.
And
And so just
this,
having all this control.
like, and it's happening organically in a way, like, so where you have Mr. Bigglesworth pointing out that the folio system does have these synergy nodes, and it's not that too much different. But I think what you're trying to say is that instead of seeing it on a graph and saying, oh, I'm just going to use my AP to unlock this one, and then I can use, you're talking about like you're building that up through the freedom of choosing your party composition. Like, so through the freedom of being able to say, well, I want Barrett and Yuffie to have some cool abilities, so I'm going to put them together. Maybe even like a triple tech type thing where it's Cloud, Barrett, Yuffie, and you're building up that synergy, and it's happening organically. Is that kind of what you're like? So the idea of being able to build up that connection, not just because it's on a graph and you need the ability points to do it, but because it's just happening, almost like Final Fantasy 2 style, right? If you the more you use
Right.
it, the better you get at it, right? Something like that.
I think so. It'll be more organic.
Okay.
Whether it unlocks in the background certain, abilities or passive abilities too could be cool.
Hmm.
But just having it organically tied to the characters where you don't necessarily need, a specific node that maybe Yuffie has, and you have to play as Yuffie instead of just a lot of organic background sort of buffs or nodes that kind of unlock by themselves just from playing. Kind of like the synergy skills raise the, what is it, the fondness or the relationship
Yeah.
in Rebirth.
Yeah.
Kind of like where you use it enough or you play with them enough, and it's the same sort of more organic thing where the game's not telling you, oh, you really want to play as them to get all these abilities, but more of a background sort of thing. And they're not to say the folio system can't be included still, or there's still a straightforward skill tree, but that's more what I was thinking.
I like it. So autonomy. That's a really cool word there. I like that. And it's almost like you said, like Excalibur was saying, like you got the word freedom, but this is a very focused word. I can dig it. I can dig it. You're breaking free, right? And you're breaking free. It's autonomy from fate. It's autonomy from the confines of a character progression, or the confines of a materia system, things like that. And I think I remember Teruki Endo, the battle director, even specifically saying that he wants to kind of allow this agency for the player, right? Like to break free of a linear progression, right? So I think you might be onto something there. Your video is frozen in time, but your voice is still coming through.
As long as my voice is here.
Awesome word, man. So I think do you have any other things you'd like to add on to that word, or we're gonna move on to the next one? What do you think?
No, feel free to move on. I could talk about exploration, but it's so intertwined with freedom when it gets to that. So feel free to move on.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because we talked about freedom being, getting the high wind, removing objective markers and things like that. That idea from last week. So very cool. Thanks so much for sharing that word. So now we're going to kind of bring in some chat. We're going to bring in some comments and hear what you guys have to say. So one of those, go ahead, Excalibur. Do you have one on deck?
Sure, yeah. So earlier in the Discord, we had Kalia mentioned restoring or restoration.
Okay.
As in putting or restoring the story back into its place, whatever place that may be. That was sort of the extent of the comment
restoration. There. That one is a tough one to try to integrate that into. What's that mean for gameplay? What's the, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's a tough one. I'll think about it a little bit more as we keep going. We have in the comment section here, we got one that says, I think it's finality. Getting the ultimate weapons, beating the hardest bosses, getting the best chocobo, best summon materia, receiving the final prize in the battle square, and seeing these characters for the final time. I think it fits nicely. So finality, and then final limit breaks as well. That one's coming from Splashback548. So finality. What do you think?
Nice.
You like that one?
Very simple. I mean, that one's really easy, right? To draw all of the connections, because we're talking about the conclusion. It's the third part in the trilogy, so finality by default is going to be baked into it.
Yeah. Chat, if you guys have a keyword, go ahead and shout them out, and then if you for bonus points, let us know how you think that's going to tie into the game itself, into the gameplay as well as story. Stories, I feel like story's a little easier, but the challenging part is the gameplay and how that does that. Final goodbye. Yeah, Stepharoth saying the final goodbye. That's what freaking makes this build up to this game so hype, bro. It just makes it so hype, man. Because there's just something different. I mean, we know what the something is, but there's just atmosphere, man. We're about 2 years, maybe a year and a half, maybe a little. Dude, we're in October right now. We're midway through October. I was talking to my mom, talking about my mom about this, and I was like, yeah. I was like, we're thinking maybe 2027. I was like, it's already almost 2026. And I'm like, oh snap, you're right. It's almost 2026, which means when we get a couple months from now, we can say next year for part 3. It's crazy. And that's why we're doing Hypecasts freaking right now, leading all the way up weekly, all the way up to part 3's release. And we got plenty to talk about, a whole document full of things to talk about, a whole lot of these kind of episodes where we're just going to bring in your thoughts.
Appreciate it.
I like,
how about this?
Who's doing that? Who's doing
I'm
that?
saved.
Who's doing the sound effects? What's up? Who's this? No?
Must be Drakey.
Is Drakey? I see there's 4. There's 4 participants in here. Drakey, you good? Hello?
But he's getting set up.
Okay, you're live. All right, I'm gonna mute you in the chat. Just let me know when you're ready to talk. All right, so we have. This one's a good one too. Ltel 1990 says promises or promise is the keyword. That's pretty cool. So promise, because of the whole no promises to keep at Journey's End, is that what it was? No promises at Journey End? Or I'm getting confused with the no promises to keep being the theme song. A lot of promising going on. The word is mentioned throughout the series and brought up in relation to resolutions and vows of certain characters, i.e. Cloud to Tifa and Nibelheim as kids, Red 13 to the Gi to have their souls finally rest, Barrett to return to Marlene, etc. So the promises made will come to fruition with the ultimate limit breaks unlocked, and thus each character will come to their own promised land. Whoa. Eltel coming in with I like that one. We got, let's see, Resolve from Rowan Morris, 2187, saying Resolve. It takes part from Sephiroth, like the previous titles, with his indomitable will and resolve. The resolve of the party to save the planet. Thinking of the end of 2. Let's see. The resolution. Yeah, so a lot of story, but if we were talking about resolve, I'm not sure how we can fit that into gameplay. We got Destinies.
Yeah, that's tough.
We got Destinies. We got Inheritance. Now, this is Inheritance coming from Keen Bean. And I was like, that's a good one. That's a new one. Would you like to explain how it could be integrated into not just the story, but also gameplay? And I got a reply. It was, last month, Final Fantasy Union published a video about an early build of Final Fantasy VII that featured gameplay that would align with this, the Final Fantasy we never got. A build where you can play as a character in the past who makes decisions that affect the stats of items and weapons that you'll discover in present-day playthroughs. They could do this with optional side quests exploring memories from the past, primarily affecting your ultimate weapons in level 4 limit folios. A major factor of the new elements in the game appear to be many of them represent things that might have been but never made it into the OG game instead of a statement of what should have been. This kind of thinking often sneaks in, and we look back on the dead, a fond remembrance, if you will. It would be an interesting commentary on how we will inherit things that never even took place, though the use of our creative imagination, or through the use of our creative imagination, people will stay with us even in the unlived memories. Woo!
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, so here we go. Let me know when it's a good time to jump in. All right, I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to unmute. Oh, wait. Sorry. I don't know what I just did. Here we go. Drakey C, you're on.
Hello. So I was thinking like what a good keyword would be, and I there's a couple of reasons I think this would be the perfect keyword, and unfortunately, it kind of stepped on the toes there with Keen Beans, but I think it could work. Legacy, because on one, that's something that's been throughout Final Fantasy VII and its expanded universe. The Buster Sword and its users, Aerith and Sephiroth, both what they left behind for the world and what they inherited. And so many characters talk about the impact they're going to leave on the world, and especially in future stories, we see the impact the party's actions, that Shinra, that Genova, have left behind. So that theme of legacy is throughout Final Fantasy VII, and especially with meta-wise, Final Fantasy VII has had such a huge impact on gaming, on the brand, on the company, and especially their careers. And with no disrespect to the devs, they've said that part of the reason they made the remake is because they're getting older. So if this is like the last big piece of FF7 media, and what is their legacy going to be, and FF7's legacy going to be? And in terms of gameplay, it could still work because one of the of course, the major change addition to Rebirth's combat system from Remake was synergy abilities, which gave your party buffs and that were significant and could hugely change the tide of battle. So if we saw any sort of expansion on that, some way to continually boost your party in battle through synergy abilities or limit breaks by working together and granting each other buffs, and that can still tie into that theme.
Yo, Mr. Bigglesworth coming in too to add on to that. You are my living legacy. Yeah.
Hey, yep.
That's a good one. Legacy. Yeah. What do you think, Excalibur?
I really like it. I was thinking the meta thing right when he said it, and yeah, that's pretty strong. The gameplay is really tricky with that one because it's such a nuanced word to try to bake into the gameplay experience. But I mean, as far as the story and the meta, I mean, it's there.
Yeah, I'm like trying to think of Hamaguchi's quote where he was like, "We have builds running right now where you can experience that theme." And I'm thinking like, all right, experiencing legacy. It's just like, I really love the keyword. Drakey, see, that was awesome. Now I'm just trying to think, all right, how do you experience legacy? Great keyword, man. Great keyword. Thank you.
Especially when you phrase it like that, experience legacy and
Yeah.
gameplay. Now I'm really thinking, okay, yeah, that's getting me thinking. What kind of mechanics could they have there?
Yes.
So I just had a thought. I'm not saying this is a good idea. It's just a thought. But so a legacy could refer to, this is something that everybody on Reddit, you'll see asks this question occasionally. How much carries over from the previous game? Do you get to keep old materia? Do you get to keep moves unlocked, so on? So that's a form of legacy, right? It would be sort of, legacy move set or legacy materia or something like that. I mean, in that way, you sort of get legacy summons, right, and Rebirth from Remake. But I don't know how deep you can really go with that, but that's the first thing that springs to mind.
Yeah. That's a good one. We got subtext with the $5. Just tossing Gil at us, man. Thank you so much, subtext. Really appreciate that. There is one keyword that could possibly please all Final Fantasy VII fans, and that keyword is Chadley. Oh, Chadley.
Keyword is data.
I can tell you how that's going to fit into the gameplay. Let me tell you how that's going to fit into the gameplay. Let me tell you how that's going to underpin everything about the gameplay. And honestly, that could have been Rebirth's keyword. Chadley.
This is something I will never forget from my Rebirth playthrough. When I was talking to Chadley, and I can't remember the exact line, but something like, I can't help but notice that the collection of new data has slowed recently. Because I hadn't done any side quests.
Yeah.
The reason I hadn't done any side quests was because I had done them all for the regions I had unlocked. What do you want from me?
I've done them all, man. Just give me a break. You gotta go to a new place. Chadley's gonna be really excited because he's like, yo, Cloud, a whole lot of new places have just opened up. Please go explore them. So Chadley is not a bad one, all right? Subtext, Chadley could be the keyword.
You can just
Chad
picture
text
that
in the chat
party
there.
gets to the northern crater. They see Sephiroth's false silhouette in the crystallized Marco in the wall. Then they slowly step forward suddenly, and then suddenly, and Cloud pulls out the hollow phone. Cloud, I'm detecting odd readings coming from up ahead. Oh shit!
That's great. We got what do we got? What else we got, Excalibur?
All right, so we have on Twitter, we have resolution, which kind of piggybacks off of one that you said earlier, which was resolve. This is from Do Zach's Claw. And the expansion of this is, I think, resolving some things, maybe quests, things that were left open.
Oh, yeah.
Start being resolved. like what happens to Roche, Sonon, Leslie, the whole timelines thing. There's a lot to resolve.
Mhm.
And as combat, them acquiring the final limit breaks too. So that's the full context there.
Nice. All right, what else we got? We got
I'll toss out quickly.
Yeah,
It's
go ahead.
not keyword related, but in terms of subtitles, like it just popped into my head earlier. I think this is both really stupid and really clever, because it kind of ties into that theme of legacy, and continues the puns of and spins on remake, like Rebirth was.
Hmm.
Request.
Request.
I
Like-
think it's both stupid and clever.
Like
Take
a-
that as you will.
Like a request. It's like, hey, we've
Final
answered.
Fantasy VII, request.
It's
As
it's
in you are requesting the original
Requesting
game.
again.
yeah. It's back in 2015 when we all requested this game to be remade. We were like, hey, nice tech demo. We request that you remake it. Shadad655 on the previous video commented, the word I've eventually settled on was unity. I'm thinking, how can they evolve the battle system? How can they give us more freedom? And the theme of unity would tie in and have everyone able to switch in. The PC version has shown it can handle all 7 party members at the same time. There must be a mod. Unity would work narratively with obviously the worlds uniting into one. Everything and everyone we've met along the 3-game journey would come together on the Highwind as a big hub. The compilation is finally unified with its definitive ending. Unity. That's a really good one, Shadad, because obviously you could make the point that's like, oh well, the remake was reunion, so kind of a similar vibe there, but like this. I've always said it anyway, that the 3rd game should be called Reunion. But yeah, to experience Unity, that would be like, hey, we have builds running right now where you can experience that theme. If the theme is Unity, then yeah, we've built up the bonds. Like we reunited, we built up our bonds again, and now we are one. We are all as one right now. And maybe you can experience that through the combat. You can experience, hopefully, like Final Fantasy 15 style, like if I'm battling next to somebody, they're just gonna like, yo, they got the hand on the back, like, hold on a second, brrr, got you. You know what I mean? Like, you got that like that teamwork going on. Like, oh man, 15 was so good at this. Probably still the best at showing like a brotherhood or a unity, a unit, working together. I think 15 does that so fantastic. So if they're talking about, hey, you can experience this in the game right now in a build, maybe they're talking about how that combat is going to show you how this team now works as a complete unit. So that's really cool.
There's another way it could tie in too, and people were even asking for it in Rebirth already. 3-way with synergy attacks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love me a good 3-way, bro. Like when you have the triple tag system going. Wait,
Well, thanks for having me.
I don't know about that. I mean, Era's dead, so it's just Cloud and Tifa now. It's just not the same.
it's just not the same.
You know what I want to see that was in Intergrade, that was not in Rebirth, that should have been in Rebirth, that has to be in Part 3, is some kind of a limit fusion. Right?
Oh,
yeah.
Because Sonon and Yuffie could do the dual limit. I want to see that come back. And so I'm thinking Unity. So I thought, limit fusion. You've also got, like what Drakey said, you've got
freaking
you got that synergy. The party is of as one system. But you've also got let's see, you could do
Mario RPG style. Like Mario RPG style where like depending on your party composition it changes your ultimate. What?
Oh. You know what else they should do is like the Genova fight and the Sephiroth fight at the end of Rebirth, have more of those like synchronized boss fights, right?
Mm-hmm,
so the party works on different levels. You have Unity boss fights, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked about that a little bit with the underwater video where I was talking about how these weapons battles can work, specifically Emerald weapon for that. And I'm like, yo, what if like instead of switching characters, you're switching parties? You're switching like on the fly. You can switch over to like, oh, I'm in the submarine and I'm shooting freaking torpedoes at Emerald, and then I got to switch back to ocean floor, and I'm attacking Emerald from the floor. You got different fronts, like all on different fronts battling. That could be interesting. It could be interesting, and it really would highlight a unity. So that's a really good word. Thank you, Shaddad. And then we have, let's see, rebuild. Now this is a word that's been popping up. So King Leaps in the previous video commented, my personal guess. Well, this one's title of part 3 would be rebuild, but I think it could also work for the keyword, rebuild, where you're talking about like rebuilding your characters from the ground up. Now when you go into part 3, you're rebuilding everything because like everything's going to reset materia and everything. There's that rebuilding. I don't know. Rebuild could be a good one. I've heard Naoki Hamaguchi talk about how this is a rebuild, like making sure he's specified rebuild, not a rewrite, not a remake or all this other stuff. It's a rebuild. And it's like, oh, okay. So maybe he's throwing that out there because like, hey, that's the keyword.
Well, if I may,
yes.
Not to interrupt.
Interrupt.
It would.
Well then. Please, I need you to. I'm stalling.
Okay, sure. But it would be cool if they do go kind of balls to the wall, like give you every materia, every weapon at the beginning of the next game, only for you to lose it all after the black materia scene.
Oh.
And before obviously the Junon execution sort of thing. So in that way, you could definitely frame it as a total rebuild at that point as well.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were going to say Wutai there, and I'm like, oh, people would hate you for even more.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I was just do it twice.
Just do it twice. Rebuild again.
Rebuilding.
That's the rebuild theme. It just keeps popping up.
We build the arsenal.
Wow.
And then Tyler Hepner in the chat, everybody, saying, oh yeah, building up to a full party ultimate tech would be awesome. Maybe something special to take on the weapons. Yeah. So that's the idea of like being able to build up these triple techs, which I just feel like that's the next logical progression, right? We had the synergy abilities between two. You gotta give me the synergy abilities between my entire party now. Yeah, and Tyler Hepner, by the way, everybody, going to be in the final anniversary 5 broadcast. So everybody be excited about that. He's going to present new artwork, y'all, and it's going to be predicting the box art for part 3. Oh man, I'm excited. I'm so excited. That's November 1st, everybody. It's going to be a fun one. All right, so Tifa suplex from Stefan. Tifa suplexes Emerald weapon. Boom! Yo, that would.
Yeah, I need it.
That would beat the Doom train. Yeah, that would beat, like, everybody would remember that, right? Like how the suplex the train. Now it's she just freaking suplexed a weapon. Crazy.
Add the Doom Train summon and give Tifa the ability to slam it on enemies.
Yeah, it's like just
summon synergy.
It's just on rails going through the freaking battlefield, and then she can just boom suplex it on somebody. That's awesome.
That meme will never get old.
No, it will
never
not.
Gets old.
until Tifa suplexes a weapon, and then that becomes the new meme. So there we go, guys. I think can we bring in some chat? Can we bring in some chat? Unity also equals unified party where you can swap characters like Final Fantasy X. This is what we were talking about. So subtext, it's so interesting that this keeps popping up. It's almost like I don't know if there's an expectation for it, right? Where people are just like, yo, if we don't get to swap our characters in and out, there might be a problem. Because so many people are bringing this up, They want that Final Fantasy X style where you can swap in characters on the fly. Now, I had thought about this, and I think I might have pitched it in the Discord and not actually on content. So I'd like to pitch it on content. If you're doing a Final Fantasy X style where you can swap characters in and out, I was like, all right, well, how do you balance that? You know, otherwise it's going to be way too easy. One character is about to die, just swap them out. You have a whole backlog of, characters you can PHS in and whatever. So it's like, how do you balance that? And I was like, well, what if swapping a character cost 2 ATB, which then you get into that oh crap, like I have to wait for the ATB to fill up before I can swap this person out. Maybe it takes a second for the character to come in, or a couple seconds. There's like this delay where you're only fighting with 2. Maybe there's there's got to be some sort of balance if you're able to swap in and out like that, or just up that difficulty a lot, so where you're just getting absolutely wrecked and it's going to be a scramble to swap these characters. Yeah, so I would love to see swapping characters in and out, but I also think, swapping parties compositions would be fun too. I think, yeah, but there's got to be some sort of balance. You don't want it to be too easy.
I had a similar idea. It would be very similar to ATB, but maybe not quite as demanding or restricting. What if switching party members? Because I don't recall the circumstance, but remember in Rebirth when your party was in a dire situation, you'd have the opportunity to do a synergy attack with one of the inactive characters. What if that was how you switch party members? You get where you do a synergy attack with someone who's inactive, and that inactive character swaps in with who you did the synergy ability for.
Yeah.
But now the swap is on cooldown, so you have an extra dimension to how you decide which synergy ability to use. Okay, how is this going to change my party comp now? And I'm not going to be able to get that character back in for 2 minutes or how.
Right. So there's a cooldown on bringing the character back. I like that as well. So if you swap that character out, you're not going to be able to bring that character back in for a certain amount of time. I like that. It reminds me of the Marvel versus Capcom for some reason. Like you come in with a big attack and then that person's out, this person's in. That's a really cool idea. I like that as well. So yeah, trying to figure out a way to make that Final Fantasy X swap characters in and out situation a thing is very interesting, and it's almost like, this could be explored a little bit further too. Like maybe we do a Hypecast all about combat system and trying to figure out how we want to make that work for part 3. As far as the keyword, we are tying that in with that unity, working together as a unit. So unity being keyword is really good. Let's see. You guys have any more keywords for part 3? Because we are approaching 10 more minutes left on this Hypecast. So I would love to hear from everybody who has any more keywords. So please chime in. Excalibur, do you see any on? I know you were going through the Twitter. I know you were going through Discord. Is there any more that we can bring in?
So we had a duplicate from Delta Sin, which was Rebuild. We already covered that one. And we've got New Beginnings from Kicky Punchy, but no expansion. Okay. So we could talk about that. Like, I'm not sure how that goes into gameplay.
The word again?
New beginnings, or perhaps more aptly Regenesis is the other word they threw in there.
No, let's stick with New Beginnings.
No,
yeah, don't bring up.
We got the veto from Major Trenton.
Major Trenton with the veto.
I'm fluid, but yeah, it's a veto.
Regenesis, y'all. New beginnings. New beginnings. Yeah, I don't know how you would even bring that into gameplay. How is there I keep thinking of Gooch, man. Keep thinking of Gooch. I'm like, we have a working build where you can experience this theme right now. For me, I'd said it last week. It just, for me, I keep on coming back to discovery and freedom and being able to just explore this open world without quest markers and all this other stuff. It just feels like that is the word that I'm so my mind is, there's a mental block right now where I'm just like, nah, man, that's it. That's the one.
It definitely works for story. Because I keep thinking back, the
Mhm.
sky, terrifying, boundless freedom.
Yeah.
It definitely works.
Yes, that's a great pool as well. Like where you can bring that in. Sky Reaver saying remold, reinitiate. So again, hold on. We're looking for the keyword. So if you can make those words fit in to everything about the story and the gameplay being the challenging part, right? So as far as the titles for part 3, right? I had joked around and saying we should just do another titles video because I feel like that is the conversation right now. Everybody wants to talk about what's the title, and I'm like, yo, we did 100 words. We did 100 possible words for the title. I don't know how we could do this anymore, but yeah. So like, remold, reinitiate. That remold. I mean, these are good titles. FF7 Homecoming. Re-homecoming. Return. Yep, that's a great one.
There you go.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know
like
why
Tyler
I got-
Hebner saying,
my
I'm
brain
stuck
got
on
hung up
Discovery.
Requiem. I don't know why. Or
Requiem.
repent.
Mhm.
I don't know why those two kept going in my head, but
Man, I've said it once, I'll say it again. Requiem for Dirge of Cerberus remakester. That's gonna be a Dirge of
Alright.
Cerberus. That's a little, it's
Yeah,
a
I
little
heard that.
redundant, but because it's a song for the dead, you know what I mean? It's a song for the dead, song for the dead.
they're just Cerberus. I've never heard of that game.
Yeah, me either. Honestly, I don't.
That
Yeah,
had to be
don't.
something.
I honestly don't. I don't know
Why
what
are
I'm
you bringing
talking
up
about.
legendary games, dude.
I really don't.
Weird.
Just take a shot every time someone says I'm so sorry in that stupid game.
Gee,
It's like,
used to
Are
take
you
a
sure
shot
that
every
that
time.
game itself apologizing
Shell.
to the player? I'm so sorry you're still playing this.
I'm so sorry. Dang.
Lucrezia is like half her dialogue is just saying I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
All right, now
Well,
that
of
when
all
Anyway.
people
when
at
I
Naya
eventually do
who
replay it,
may
I'm going to
have
hear
reason
that
feel guilt. She's one of them.
redundant Spartan. Redundant. All right, y'all. See, now we're throwing. See, this is why we just need to do a titles again. Like, I'm just gonna say 100 more words. Do you remember when I was pitching the theories or the idea to you, Excalibro? I was like, yo, we need something catchy. We need something that's catchy in that thumbnail, right?
100 words.
100
But seven.
words. But I said, what did I say?
Bro, you said, what did you say? 10,000 or something?
I said
And
I'm doing. I said 7,700.
Yeah. I'm like, I just did some
10,000
quick
words is about the 10-2
tablecloth
remake.
math and some napkin math. And I'm like, bro, we don't have enough days to
He
do
said,
that.
dude, unless if you're auction speaking these words off.
I don't know, 100 words a day, Hypecast every
That-
day.
Yeah.
Reading the
Yeah.
dictionary.
And then I was like, I don't know if there are 1,000 or 10,000 or 7,000 RE words.
Oh, man.
Okay, there's subtext with 100 non-RE words for everybody that absolutely will not be in the game. But hey, let's talk about it. Let's just talk about words. Let's just talk about words. That's what we're doing in this episode right now.
Welcome to English class. Let's talk
Yeah.
about words for a minute. Like, no, but
Solidarity.
it is
Like
interesting.
tactics, I have seen the orator and the bard class. Words can be weaponized.
Words
It can
can be
be the keyword.
weaponized. They really can.
Maybe that's the keyword. Words. Characters just start shouting
Just
at enemies.
words. Solidarity or individuality is what Anna Kettle says in chat. That is an interesting one, right? Because now you had all this talk about like unity, like working together, and now you're just like, yeah, we're bringing it in to a more self-focused, and that's an interesting one. I mean, I can see it. So we could play like Clive from Final Fantasy 16. Where you only play as Cloud. No, I'm just kidding. You only play as Cloud in this game. We've changed up everything.
The whole game. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Anna. Do you have any like ideas on like how that could affect gameplay? I would love to hear from you. Right. So, yeah, if you have any ideas on like those words and how they could underpin the gameplay. 100 really cool words. that's it. Hypecast. About growth.
We did get in
Ooh.
Discord earlier from Centurion, we
Mhm.
got acceptance. Because you got to accept that Rufus will be hard in hard mode.
You
You
gotta
said
accept-
press R2 and L2 to accept Aerith's fate. There's your gameplay.
Acceptance. Hey, we joked about this for a bit, but then I was like, "What?" I think this was on our podcast, wasn't it, Major Trenton? I feel like it might have been like the adaptive trigger thing. It might have been.
Yes.
Yeah.
It definitely was. You or other people have brought it up since then on your
Yeah.
Hypecast as well, but it was definitely on ours as well. Just
Yes.
the accept the truth.
Accept the truth.
And then we were like
yep.
adaptive triggers where it's like really hard to press down. And or like I was laughing at it. I was joking. I was like, "Oh man, that's hilarious." And then I got to thinking. I held a DualSense in my hand. I was holding the DualSense in my hand, and it was during Astrobot's menu screen. And during Astrobot menu screen, like when you press down on the, you get your little rocket ship going across, and you can feel the resistance of that trigger, right? And it's like that resistance is tight on the, and then I was like, I closed my eyes, and I imagined holding Aerith. And I was like, man, accept the truth. And I'm like, no, not right now.
No.
Not right now.
Honestly, like
It's too
kinda did
hard.
what he did.
It's too
The
hard.
thing is, they kind of did that at the end of part 2.
They kind of did. Yeah, with like
And
the
thing is
water.
that actually, this is like months ago. I put a poll on my Twitter because I was curious. I'll ask you guys, when that scene came up and the button prompts appeared, did you press them or not? Because I was
Bro.
watching streamers. Some of them tapped them thinking it was to resist.
Mhm.
Others refused to tap them because they thought tapping them was like to raise the sword.
To
and they
actually do
refused
it,
to
right? Yeah, I thought it was to raise the sword, and I'm like, you got no strings on me, Sephiroth. I'm not your puppet. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. But then
I thought it was to resist.
So did I. Yeah,
I thought it was.
I was doing it.
I did it too. Yeah, that's what I thought. But it's interesting how like they don't specify. You could interpret it either way.
Mm-hmm.
But what's cool about that, like that whole conversation there, is that there was different experiences where people were like, I don't want to do this, or like I'm going to resist as much as I can, to where it's like this is what they want you to feel anyway. In part 3, I think it's like you're not gonna want to let go, because once you let go, she gone, done. Your little world you created, gone. It's gone. She's not around anymore. So you're sitting there holding it, and you're just gonna, maybe you even hear her in your ears whispering, "It's okay. Let go, Cloud." You're just like, no. And you just hold on. Just hold on. Those little adaptive triggers are real tight. And you're just trying to let go. And then all of a sudden, the adaptive triggers loosen a little bit. And you can feel that loosening in your hand. You're like, oh. And then you let go. Bro.
You've had that dream too.
So you
that could work, because as you described that, what had my flash in my head, the final battle boss of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, well,
what if
never
you're
mind.
having those triggers, and suddenly, not from the game but from the controller, you hear Aerith whispering.
Oh wow, coming through the whoa!
Oh,
I let go just because of hair coming through my whoa.
that would be cool. Like I could see that.
I'm in your controller now. Cool. Yeah.
Oh, full circle. Chadley threw the controller in that moment.
Chadley. Yeah.
As you're
That's
doing
it.
Cloud. Are you busy?
And Chadley just
are you busy
hiding
right now?
as he's
Oh god. All right, so choice is a good one. Choice. But I mean, obviously choice can kind of blend in a little bit with freedom, but I like choice. So much of Rebirth was thinking we had a choice, just to be like, nah. That's what Sephiroth's saying. So choice being and then of course don't forget 7 seconds till the end, Cloud. Time enough for you, perhaps. But what will you do with it? Let's see. There's a choice. Cool. Cloud goes missing and everyone is lost, and he was the leader. They need to find themselves. Ooh, there you go. And coming back in with tie-in individuality and solidarity in there, where everybody needs to find their purpose, right? And that's a moment that happens in the OG. at the high wind and everything like that. So good stuff. I like that one. All right, everybody. I believe that is our Hypecast. This was an open door Hypecast. This was to bring in some fans. We had Major Trenton come in. We had Drakey C. And if you're not unfamiliar with Major Trenton and Drakey C, Major Trenton, you have a YouTube channel where sometimes you'll post some videos, and I think they are of the utmost highest quality. They are fantastic. You have a great speaking voice, by the way. Like, your narration on these videos, fantastic. So, would you like to say where they can find you and things like that?
Yeah, it's the same name as here, Major Trenton. You can look me up on YouTube. Unfortunately, I don't do a ton of Final Fantasy content. When I do, I like to make sure they're of the utmost quality, right? And so I'm still really proud of my intro theory video, which I really like. I think Wiley's talked about it before, but
it's solid, bro.
Solid. I'll take that.
Solid.
Very good. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So I'm mainly just on YouTube, but I do general gaming stuff. But other than that, you can find me in Daniel's chats like every week.
That's right.
And we appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Dude, we really do, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, dude. And Drakey C, he was the disembodied voice that you heard in this podcast. But Drakey
I have a
C.
webcam, but you don't want to look at me. And I don't want to put on pants.
Oh, okay, yeah, no.
You don't want to put on pants.
No.
That's,
We're
we
live.
appreciate
That three-way conversation. What was that going?
Drakey C, you also have a YouTube channel. You also have a Twitch channel that you're playing Final Fantasy Tactics.
Hypothetically speaking.
Yeah?
Hypothetically speaking, I have a Twitch. I don't think anyone actually watches it much.
Oh, this is the moment where the viewers of Final Fan TV will tune in, hopefully, and give you some love, man. Show some love to Drakey C doing his first time playthrough of Final Fantasy Tactics. Everybody never played the game before, so that's kind of exciting to tune in and watch. And then you have the lore of Final Fantasy videos that are excellent. That you have a whole nice a collection of those. So Drakey C, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube. Those are my main three. You go by Drakey C, DRAKEYC. Except I'm Drakey C8 on Twitter. I will never call it X. And as he said, I do lore Final Fantasy. I've fallen off the wayside. It's a series chronicling like the recurring summons and monsters. And I want to continue the series. I actually did a script to redo my Bahamut video. Because
Nice.
Rebirth and 16 have both come out since the original. So and that was the first one I did, which with crappy mic and bad editing. So it's time for an update.
I have so many videos like that on my channel where I'm like, oh god, the audio is so bad right now.
Yeah.
Why did people subscribe? But I'm really happy that you did. But so real quick, I don't want to bring in Josh Z Tossin Gill. Thank you so much, Josh Z. I really appreciate that. This is a fun one to close out the show. I think we will have to pilot the Highwind out of the northern crater at the end of the game. Talk about like an epic sequence where everything's just collapsing and you have, obviously you're going to have the gameplay mechanics of flying the Highwind. You're going to have that. You're going to have it has to be some real tight aerial gameplay. It'll be fun. So being able to use that one last time as an escape from the northern crater as it's collapsing, or as things are happening, as the end of the game is happening. I don't know if we should talk about. I don't know. But as the end of the game is happening, you fly out. Oh, really cool, man. I like that, Josh C. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're fighting Sephiroth in it. I'm just kidding. You just fly. It's gonna be good stuff, man. Thank you so much for that one. Thanks for tossing Gil. That is a hype thing to get to think about as we exit this one. Delta Sin. The very first thing I see in your paragraph is, and then I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna read it. I haven't proofread it, but here it goes. Chadley uploads himself to the controller firmware. It will take you. It will wake you up in the middle of the night with Chadley's theme. He'll ask you, dude, is it time for the Chadley Hypecast? Is it time for
my dreams?
That's a little bit of an oxymoron.
Is it? That's it. Yo, you don't even know.
It's a Chadcast.
You don't even know. Yes,
It's a Chadcast.
I'm changing the logo on the bottom left. It's gonna say Chadcast. It's gonna be in the same font, but it's gonna just say Chad. Chadcast is coming. Y'all ready for the Chadcast, everybody? It might be next week. We'll see what happens. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I want to say one more time because I want this to be a big event, man. I want this to be something special. I have a pretty awesome lineup in the works. Okay, I've already announced that Tyler Hepner, that incredible artist you've seen on Twitter all the time, where I will quote him, "The art is bathed in light." I love that freaking thing. When he said that, he described his art as bathed in light. I was like, oh, that's good stuff, bro. You've seen his art. He's going to be on the show for Final Anniversary 5, November 1st. And he's going to be predicting the box art. And that's right, providing some art for you guys to look at exclusively, premiering here on the show. So that is way more than I could ever have asked for. I'm so excited. I'm so honored that he's willing to do that. So thank you, Tyler, for that. Going to be on November 1st, everybody. That's a Saturday. Big event because it doesn't end there. I'm going to announce not the guests because I want to make sure they get locked in before I can announce them. But we're going to go into a family feud, a Final Fantasy family feud, which I call the feud. FFEUD, all right? FF, because it was just, just too much. FFFF, I was just too much. So, Final Fantasy Feud, all right? It's going to be there.
Feud.
Final Feud.
I'm stroking out again.
You feel the fish.
It's a family feud, man.
Oh, my Lord.
It's going to be a good one. It's a tongue twister. That's why I just called it feud. So anyway, Final Fantasy Family Feud, it's going to be awesome. It's Final Fantasy 9 themed to celebrate the anniversary, the 25th anniversary, celebrating our 5th anniversary. Kind of cool. It's going to have, oh man, I want to announce these guests. I'm so, I can't. I'm not.
Wait.
I'm not.
Gotta wait.
I'm not. I know.
I just don't know it.
Oh man, these freaking guests. There's two teams. Two teams going to compete against each other. I'm excited. Maybe next week. I'm hoping that next week I can announce who's facing off against each other. So be hype for that. November 1st, Final Anniversary 5. And then there might be a segment in between. Where we will do a Final Fantasy draft, a snake draft system where we're going to take turns drafting certain things to create a Final Fantasy, and you will vote on which of these Final Fantasy games are the best that you would want to play. All right,
6.
we're gonna draft gameplay mechanics. We'll draft story things.
Excellent.
And we're gonna craft a Final Fantasy, and you'll have to vote which one's best. So this is gonna be an awesome time. It's gonna be a big event. I'm thinking it starts at like 6 p.m. Eastern. Got to lock in these times, but the feud will be 9 p.m. I know that for sure. So, guys, November 1st, get hype. And then next week, we'll have another Hypecast for you. And it'll be the Chadcast, actually. So, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I want to say one more time a thank you to Major Trent. A thank you to Drakey C for calling in here, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. And a thank you to Excalibro. Thank you so much for bringing in the keywords and stuff like that, everybody. And lastly, but not leastly, it is the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for sounding off and just sharing the hype with us. Thank you. Everybody, you take care now. Bye then.